Fasten your seatbelt. I am taking you for the ride of your life. I'm going to show you what this car can really do. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Hang on.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hold on to your butts.
Forget him, kid.
To infinity and beyond!
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor at all.
So you can go ahead and ask me what you're going to ask me, and my natural response could be to get offended.
Well, fine, let's talk about it.
Any thoughts of your own on this matter? Or is that your thing? You come into a bar, you read some obscure passage, and then pretend you pawn it off as your own idea just to impress some girls?
Just another American who saw too many movies as a child.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
All right.
You're listening to the 30-something Movie Podcast. One movie each week, 30 years in the making. This is the 30-something Movie Podcast. I am your host, John Reed, and we are back again for another great 90s movie. We are still in the year 1993. We are talking the Three Musketeers this time around, and we are down because of meetings and life and everything else. The usual 3 or 4 Musketeers that we have with us, we are down to the 2 Musketeers. Tonight it's John and it's Pat. Pat, how are you doing?
Great, John. How are you?
We are all for one and one for two.
1 for 2.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're okay. It's like like the scene in the movie where he says, "Let's split up."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, we can. It really doesn't matter what kind of odds we're facing. We can take them.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, we are now ready to resist.
Yes.
Yes. So, how are you doing, Pat? How's life going?
John, life is going well.
Good.
Life is going really well. Had a fantastic weekend. Life was good. It was awesome.
Did you? There are a lot of horses in this movie. Did you ride some horses this weekend?
John, that's basically all we did this weekend. It was super exciting. I got to participate in my first fun show with horses.
Nice.
at the ranch we ride at.
Awesome.
It was great. And the kids had their fun show on Saturday, and then the adult fun show was Sunday. So basically and it started Friday night, because Friday night I had a lesson, my last group lesson before the show. So basically from Friday evening into night till Sunday night, I was at the ranch, like a mile up the road from our house,
Nice.
Outside riding horses. And that was a really humbling and exciting, fun time.
Nice. So for those that are the uninitiated, what does one do at a fun, other than the obvious, what does one do at a fun show?
Well, so it's the place that we ride at is Western style.
Okay.
So it starts in the morning with horsemanship, where you ride around in the ring and they ask you to take the horse at different speeds and such. And then there's a judge sitting there and they judge you on how well you control your horse. Once you start loping the horse, do you have the horse taking the correct lead and so forth. And so there were a couple of classes where you're just basically judged on horsemanship. And then that's pretty much the morning. And then the afternoon are the games. And it was, what was it? It's called pole bending, which is where you ride, you kind of weave in and out. Maybe it's pole weaving. I'm still a novice, so I might get some of the terms wrong, but it's like a slalom course through poles, right?
Okay.
And then there was a flag race where you kind of you grab a flag out of a bucket of sand and then go around the arena and try and stab it in another one without the flag falling out.
Yeah.
And then there was barrel racing, which was pretty fun. Let's just say pretty fun to say the least.
Yeah.
And so they have a whole bunch of things that you do on horseback. There was a division for costumes. I didn't get a costume together this year, but Daniela went as a Pony Express rider, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
And then there was a really cool event where you do partners, and it's like basically the judge comes back out and you ride around the ring with partners, and then everything you have to do, you got to keep the horses neck and neck. So if you're walking, you got to walk together. If they have you jogging the horses, you have to jog the same speed. If they have you take it to a lope, you got to lope the same speed. And as you're going around in a circle, obviously the guy on the outside has to go faster than the guy on the inside. And so you got to communicate with your partner. And so it's super fun, challenging, humbling. And you just really, it's just a great time. It's awesome. I mean, it's just really awesome.
Nice.
And the place that we ride at they are such wonderful people. It's family owned. There's like 4 generations of people working there. And it's like, they are just incredible teachers, incredible people. They are so helpful and just helpful to say the least. I mean, they have a wonderful place, wonderful horses. They're so inviting. Like, you ask questions, they're there to help you out. They challenge you, and all the people there. And I'll tell you, man, there's some riders there it's like jaw dropping. Yeah. When you see some of these folks do these things, and some of them are just amateurs that have been riding forever. Some of them are like, they go up and do like the rodeo in town and the shows and, like the big times, but like, they are so good. Cause like, you go through and you're working on your thing, and then you see them go through and it's like, dang, what they can do with horses. And it's pretty humbling. Nice. The best part is, though, whoever you go talk to, like, no one cops an attitude. They're there to help you out. They'll answer questions. They're like, hey, great job out there. Like, everyone is you're just surrounded with good people. And it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun. So yeah, man, how many more hours do we have to talk about it? Because I'll bend your ear with it.
All right, as many as you want. I mean, my question is, so if you do a costume next time, may I suggest the Rohirrim?
You know what? That's the thing. I've thought, there was one of the gals that was riding, her horse's name was Thor.
Yeah.
So she dressed up as Lady Thor.
Nice.
Yeah. So you get that. The thing is, like, the hard part of the costume is you want to have it so you don't need to explain it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
that's
okay,
the thing.
So if you don't want to do that, you want an easy costume that's breathable and it's easy to wear while you're riding the horse. Do Indiana Jones.
So yes,
a simple one.
That is, especially the next fun show is in October.
Yeah.
The next fun show is in October, and
perfect for Halloween.
Perfect for Halloween. And I'll tell you, man, with the new Indiana Jones movie coming out, I am really thinking hard about going as Indy. Yeah. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome. So yeah, man, good times. But like I said, and the place that we ride at is called Timmerman's Ranch and Saddle Shop, and it's right up the street from our house.
Very cool.
They're awesome. If anyone wants to, man, like I said, if anyone wants to get lessons for the first time or try riding a horse, or if you've been riding forever and just want to take a look at a wonderful place with wonderful human beings that just make it awesome. I mean, they've made such a difference in our family. And I mean, a year ago, if you would have asked a year ago, it would have been kind of like, yeah, okay, riding horses. And now it's like, that's kind of what we're all about. And they're a wonderful place. So
very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So that was the weekend. Sorry, I didn't mean to go completely off on that one, but it was a pretty great experience. So
I don't know if you would say that was our Marin.
I think we can say we have a Marin Open.
We have a Marin Open, a Mare in Open.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
I mean, I had to do it twice, but you saw what I did there.
I did. I did. It took me a while. Hey, you know what? Hey, once I explained the punchline to the joke, you really laughed hard at it. That's
fine.
good.
That's fine.
That's good.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Oh,
awesome. Well, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, we are, as I said earlier, we were talking the Three Musketeers this time around. So very, very quickly, we spoil the movies we talk about. We talk freely, so we don't do spoiler alerts here. So just be warned. There might be some milk in your fridge that's about to go bad. That's about the only spoiler we're going to give you here. So
yeah. Yep.
Favorite one of my favorite scenes from King of the Hill, when Bobby gets put on was it a Prozac or some kind of medication, and he's sitting at the kitchen table. There's some milk in the fridge that's about to go bad. And there it goes.
That's pretty funny.
There is any time that we are pulling stuff out of the fridge on a weekend and we're like, all right, I think some stuff needs to get tossed out when garbage day rolls around. Is this any good? And so we will almost always quote that at some point. Well, there's some milk in the fridge that's about to go bad. And there it goes.
There it goes. What was that line in The Naked Gun when he's sitting there and he's like, hey, I got some Chinese food in here, and it's whatever name's the restaurant. And she goes, so-and-so? Excuse me. Sorry. She's like, so-and-so, didn't they go out of business 3 years ago? And he opens up the carton and you see him pass out. You remember that scene?
It was Wong Woo's.
Wong Woo's. Didn't they go out of business 3 years ago? Maybe. I don't know.
Gee, has it been that long?
That's right. Gee, has it been that long?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a fantastic movie that is.
That's right. I didn't feel like Chinese tonight.
Yeah, that's right. I know a place that serves great Viking food.
Yeah. All right. Make sure you visit our website, 30podcast.com. You can leave a rating, a voicemail. You can become a co-executive producer via Patreon. I am also going to throw out there, if you are wanting to go back and find our old episodes, that is one of the best ways to do it, is to go back to our website. You can search, or you can just run down the entire, we got 400 and whatever at this point. You can run down the entire thing. I'm going to put this out here now because there are some things that I'm kind of working on. I know we're a little ways away, but I'm working on some stuff for our 500th episode already.
500.
And so I'm going to put this out here and say, I'm going to ask the people who are listening, that if you have, or if you are going back in the back catalog and you want to mention some of these things, if you have some favorite moments of some of our past episodes, like I know there are some particularly funny things, like in our very first year of doing things, we had some funny moments that have, the jokes have kind of carried on for years now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have moments, so those of you that are listening, if you have moments from our podcast or episodes from our podcast in the past that are absolute favorites of yours, feel free to start to drop me a line and let me know, either Twitter, email, however you want to do that, voicemail, whatever, because I'm starting to kind of collect some stuff, and I may ask for some favorite moments that people have had while listening to our show over the last few years, all the way up until our 500th episode. So if you're thinking about that now, if you've got something in mind, feel free to send it my way, because I'm starting to work on some. I know we're like 20 whatever episodes until then, but that's gonna be right around the corner. So
just to clarify, are we doing like a clip show, or are we going to go like just honorable flashback kind of thing?
I've got a few things planned for the 500th episode. I have to run past you guys, but there may be, we may put a minor clip show device on our 500th and just have a clip show moment or two.
Yeah.
So, but I have awesome. I have some possible ideas. I have some ideas related to trivia. Maybe like a trivia game. I've got some thoughts. So
got some thoughts.
Run some
super exciting. 500th episode. Dear Lord, where did the time go?
I know, it's pretty crazy. Like, I started looking at it, I was like, oh yeah, we're still a ways away from. Oh no, we're not.
No, we're not.
Like, as I'm planning out what our recordings are moving forward, I'm like, ooh, that's that number has a 4 and an 8 that it starts with, which is really close to a 5 and a 0. So might need to start thinking about this.
The doomsday clock ticks ever closer.
It is. We are 4 minutes to midnight.
4 minutes to midnight.
Yeah. All right. So make sure you go to our website, 30podcast.com. That is also a spot where you can join us on Patreon. So if you want to get bonus content, we got bonus episodes over there, and a plethora of other things that you can get benefits through if you join us at certain levels there. But any level of support gets you those bonus episodes over there on Patreon, so go check that out. Patrick, I don't think I have too many other news items for us here, so I think we can just dive right on into this one.
Yeah, man, I think we should. Let's dive in.
All right. So, as I said, this one is The Three Musketeers. Came out on November 12th, 1993. Rated PG. It was 1 hour, 45 minutes. Directed by Stephen Herrick, who did Mr. Holland's Opus and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Writer was David Lowery, who did Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. What does God need with a starship? He also did Dreamscape. Producer was Roger Birnbaum, who did Rush Hour and The Magnificent Seven, the 2016 version, and Joe Roth, who did Alice in Wonderland 2010 and Maleficent in 2014. Composer was Michael Kamen, who did Die Hard, Band of Brothers, the TV series, and I believe the first X-Men movie. Cinematographer was Dean Semler. He did Dances with Wolves and Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. Editor was John F. Link, who did Die Hard and Commando. The production companies were Walt Disney Pictures and Caravan Pictures. Budget was an estimated $30 million. Box office, $53.9 million. It gets an A- on Cinema Score, and Flickmetrics gives it a 53%. Charlie Sheen.
That's kind of a
Oh yeah,
that's kind of a diverse. Is that? It was. Cinema Score gives it a 53.
Yeah.
And is that similar? That's like the average one, right?
Cinema Score. What did I say? Cinema Score gives it an A-.
Oh, Cinema Score gives it A-, and then Flick Metrics gives it 50.
Flick Metrics gives it the 53. Yeah, it's really kind of interesting. Like I'm gonna go ahead and just I'll spoil our conversation for people. I really enjoy this movie. Like I watch this movie probably once a year. Maybe once every couple of years or so. But I mean, I've rewatched this one several times, and
it's fun. It's great.
It's fun. I love this movie. I think it's super fun. But you go on to any of the spots that have like critic ratings and stuff like that, and it's like 47%, 43%. IMDb, I think it says here it gets a 63% on IMDb. So it's not getting good scores on some of these other services, but I mean, sure, it's got its problems, but still a fun movie.
Yeah, we all got our problem.
Yeah, I mean,
I think.
Yeah, Cinema Score is the one where people get surveyed as they're leaving the theater. So if you went to go see this movie and you had fun seeing it, those are the people that are giving it an A-, is people who saw the movie and as they're leaving the theater, they are being surveyed, how did they enjoy the movie? What grade would they give it? That's where you're getting that A- from. The rest of most of these scores are from movie critics.
Okay.
That are going to go through and they're going to kind of nitpick it a little bit and they're going to give it that kind of a score and all that stuff. But yeah, so
got it.
So that's why sometimes we see a bit of a discrepancy between those.
Got it. Okay. Well, thanks for the background, information on our own show that I still need, even though we're closing in on the 500th episode.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, actually, here, I was going to pull it up on Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter for the Three Musketeers, it gets a 30%.
Okay.
Audience score, it gets a 62%.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of that's similar to what we're seeing between Cinema Score and Flick Metrics.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny, though, here, the very brief critic consensus that they have on Rotten Tomatoes says its starry trio of do-gooders may promise to fight, quote, one for all for one, but this Three Musketeers is a slickly unmemorable update bound to satisfy very few.
All right.
And I read that.
Well, John,
apparently we're the very few.
I was you were going to say. I kind of stole your segment there, but yeah, we're the few, John. Yeah. Welcome to the few.
The few, the proud. Hey, you know what? One for few and few for one.
The needs of the many.
The needs of the many outweigh the one for all and the all for few.
Yeah. I'm
going to get very confused by the time we're done with all this.
I am very confused. I shouldn't have. This is what happens when I interrupt the opening.
Oh, no. That's fine. So here's a little funny thing. A movie that gets better Rotten Tomatoes scores for both the critics and the audience. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2?
Yeah. That one gets a better score from both the critics and the audience than this Three Musketeers movie. Pat, consider my mind boggled.
Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here, John. I'm sitting here and I feel boggled as well.
Yeah. And not even like the good boggle, like the word game.
No, this is not a good boggle.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just talk about the movie. Let's just say that we're not going to worry what the poopy pants think.
No, I don't care what Mr. Poopy Pants thinks. We're all mature. We're all mature adults here, isn't that right, Mr. Poopy Pants?
Mr. Poopy Pants.
Yeah. All right. Well, Charlie Sheen played Aramis. He was in Platoon and Wall Street. Kiefer Sutherland played Athos. He was in Stand By Me and 24. Chris O'Donnell was D'Artagnan. He was in Batman Forever and Scent of a Woman. Hoo-ah! Oliver Platt played Porthos. I'm going to have to try really hard. Every time I see the name Porthos and I know better, I always want to say Portillo's. So if I accidentally say that, somehow when I see it typed out, just the letters next to each other, I don't know if it means I'm hungry. I don't know what it means, but I see that name and I want to say Portillo's. So if I accidentally say Athos, Portillo's, and Aramis, then I apologize.
I always think of Captain Archer's dog.
That as well, yes. So Oliver Platt was in Flatliners and Frost Nixon. Flatliners, you love that one, Pat.
That was an exciting movie, John. I love it 2 minutes longer than you do.
Do you want to, I bet we could try to recap it for people real quick. I bet I could recap it for people in about 2.5 minutes.
I could totally do it in 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Okay. I bet I could recap it in 1:52.
I thought half of the movie was a comedy.
You did, and that's what I think is hilarious.
I'm like, wow, I know that. I'm just going to say it again, man. Like, okay, I know my humor isn't everyone's style, but boy, this is really dark. I don't know how people think this is funny.
Man, Flatliners, is that when like a one-liner falls flat and nobody laughs at it? Because I think that's what's happening here.
Well, that kind of was what was happening.
Yeah,
it was a good movie, though. I liked it.
It brings a smile to my face thinking that you're sitting there watching this going, when does the funny happen?
I know. I'm like, why is everybody laughing at this? And I'm laughing too, and this doesn't feel right.
And I'm picturing you sitting there going, wow, the other guys think this is funny. What's wrong with me?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. The universe isn't messed up. I'm messed up.
I'm messed up. Tim Curry. Let's just take a moment. Tim Curry.
Oh man, he's great.
He is in everything he does. He is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the great movie villains is his Cardinal Richelieu.
Oh yeah, and what I love is that his goatee has the little mustache part of the goatee.
Yeah,
has a little bit of the side that actually looks like it was twirled.
A little
you know
bit,
what I'm saying? Like and like I don't even know if it matches the goatee, but he's got little twirlers on the end of his mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Just in my mind, it's like he's totally the mustache twirling bad guy.
Oh yeah. So he was also in Rocky Horror Picture Show and Clue. Rebecca de Mornay played Milady de Winter. There's a lot of duh in there. She was in Risky Business and The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Gabrielle Anwar played Queen Anne. She was in Scent of a Woman and Burn Notice. Michael Wincott, another great actor in these type of movies. Michael Wincott played Rochefort, which I understand is a smelly kind of cheese. He was in The Crow and Alien Resurrection. Paul McGann played Gerard. He was in With Nail and I and Doctor Who. Julie Delpy played Constance. She was in Before Sunrise and 2 Days in Paris. And Hugh O'Connor played Louis XIII. He was in My Left Foot and Chocolat. All right, I've got some trivia stuff, just a couple things real quick, trivia-wise, for you. Some kind of fun stuff here. Originally, they wanted Robert Downey Jr. for a role in this. They talked to William Baldwin, Johnny Depp, Gary Oldman, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Cary Elwes, Al Pacino, and Brad Pitt actually turned down the role of D'Artagnan. So
those are very interesting. The one I think of, I think Robert Downey Jr. would have really fit with the guys that they had in there.
Yeah.
I think Cary Elwes would have been awesome in there just because he's awesome in everything. But I mean, he could have brought, I think he could have definitely brought the swashbuckling, and we know he could have brought the humor because of Princess Bride and Men in Tights. Mm-hmm. So that would have been that would have been interesting to see.
Yeah. So Cary Elwes, who played Wesley in The Princess Bride, another swashbuckling movie, he was actually considered for one of the roles in this movie, and pretty far into the casting process, he was still being considered, and there was actually an interview very early on before pre-production, as pre-production was taking place. He was interviewed at Planet Hollywood in New York City with Charlie Sheen and Kiefer Sutherland. And this interview was broadcast on the E! Network, and Cary Elwes was interviewed as if he was going to be one of the cast. So that would have been another fun one, somebody else who has spent some time in swashbuckling movies.
Yes, agreed. Very much so.
I mean, some of the other fun stuff about this movie is, where was the one I had written this down? Oh, yeah. It's during the final duel with Rochefort, the smelly cheese. D'Artagnan, there's a scene where, I don't know, did you catch this or not, the connection to Star Wars?
I did.
Did you?
I did. Yes, I did.
He leaps over him, spins, and lands on the other side, and Rochefort says, impressive. It would have yeah, I know, say it.
Most impressive.
There you go. That would have been chef's kiss. Just to have that in there, I would have made me smile. I mean, the impressive makes me smile anyway, but.
Right. It was a great scene. It was a great scene.
Yeah.
Did you hear that Sam Raimi was considered for directing this?
I did not hear that one. Was he really?
Yeah, I don't know. When they say considered, you don't know if that was like kicked around or if he was heavily. But when I was reading a little bit about this movie, yeah, Sam Raimi was, which makes it a completely different movie.
That would have
you know what I'm saying?
Very different. Yeah, like very early 90s Sam Raimi. We're still talking like Army of Darkness type Sam Raimi. That like some of the camera shots, some of the other stuff, that could have been interesting. I'm not sure that Sam Raimi of that era would have fit well with Disney, but maybe he would have. Yeah,
it would be interesting to hear how that all comes down. Like, hey, here are the things that we're looking at and what we'd like, and
Yeah.
So, and again, it was something I read. I don't know.
Yeah.
How deep into the process that went.
That would have been interesting. Michael Wincott. I want to take a moment while we were talking through trivia and the cast and everything else. This guy is like the quintessential bad guy, or at least the quintessential assistant to the bad guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, because he is Guy de Gisborne in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He was, what was his character's name in The Crow? Top Dollar? Was that his name?
I think so, yeah.
I think that was his name. He was Orliac, the warden of the Chateau d'If in Count of Monte Cristo. So, I mean, in these kind of like, whether he's playing a criminal or in these like Alexandre Dumas swashbuckling kind of movies, Robin Hood kind of movies, like he is, his voice is just that very distinctive. When he starts talking, you know who that is. You know exactly who that is.
Yeah, and he's got the look.
Oh, yeah. He can play a villain just about any time he wants.
Yeah. He's fun to watch on screen.
Yeah.
He looked, I know that they put these guys through, well, with the exception of Charlie Sheen, they put these guys through like a 6-week sword camp.
Yeah.
Sword and fencing camp. He almost looked the most natural. Like, I wonder if he's, or maybe he just didn't have as many scenes as the other guys did. But no, he's fun to watch on screen. Like, he looks very natural with the combat sequences and so forth.
He was probably in enough of these movies, having been in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and he's probably been in enough of these movies. He probably has got it down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he definitely brings that, like you said, that ilk of character to life.
Absolutely. So, question for you, Pat. I don't know if you've ever noticed. Maybe you've noticed this. Maybe it bothers you. Maybe it doesn't. I mean, every time, even as a kid, when I would see the Three Musketeers, whether it was a book version, movie version, TV show, the poster of the movie version, whatever. I don't know if it ever bothered you that the movie is called The Three Musketeers. And Patrick, how many musketeers are typically on the movie poster?
Well, there's 4, right?
There's 4. Now, Pat, what has been very well established at this point on this show is...
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
However, that's always...
That's a good point.
Like, as a kid, I was always like, wait a minute. Why? And especially this one, because in a lot of the movie posters and promotional stuff, they even have Chris O'Donnell's character in the full musketeer uniform, and he doesn't get that until the very, very end of the movie.
Right.
So that as a kid, I remember always confusing me. I was like, why is this called the Three Musketeers? There's 4 of them.
Right.
Like, I know I'm like 11 years old, but I can count.
There are 4 musketeers.
Pat, I'm so glad you said that because...
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. Did I steal it?
No.
Did I steal it?
No.
Okay,
I was going right to that famous scene in one of the deleted scenes from that one episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, the Chain of Command Part 3.
Yeah.
Or Part 2.5.
Right.
We could call it 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that scene?
Refresh our and the viewer's memory.
Let me refresh your memory. This is the scene where Captain Picard is being interrogated, and he's being asked a very specific question.
I asked how many
Musketeers
do you see? There are 4 Musketeers. I don't understand how you can be so mistaken. There are 4 Musketeers.
Powerful scene, John. That was a powerful scene.
And you know what? He stuck to his guns the entire time.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Because there are 4 Musketeers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
That, honestly, that confused me too as a kid.
Yeah. I'm like, look,
it's funny you say that because
at that point in my life, math was at least as uncomplicated enough so that I, as a child, could be like 1, 2, 3. I don't know.
And maybe, and I'm going to freely admit it, I love this movie, but I have not like seen it as much as The Rocketeer or seen it as much as Prince of Thieves and all that. And I'm not as familiar with the source material. Are there rough? I mean, it's from what I read, it's kind of roughly the same story beats. Like there's 3 Musketeers, and then there's the one that's the son of D'Artagnan, and he's trying to work his way in. Is that pretty accurate?
In pretty much all the stories, D'Artagnan does not become a Musketeer until like 2/3 of the way through the book.
Okay.
There's always the 3. In fact, in the books, I believe they're referred to as the 3 inseparables: the Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. And then D'Artagnan is always the young one that wants to be a part of it. And I want to say in the original books, I might get this wrong, that he was a member of a different type of royal guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Musketeers, I think they were referred to as the Musketeers of the Guard or something like that. And they were meant to be kind of the original Musketeers, the actual French Musketeers, were meant to be, I mean, they were formed in the 1600s, and they were meant to be kind of like a light cavalry group that had been equipped with muskets. Of course, they had their swords, but they also had muskets. And they were both kind of the Royal Guard, and they were also kind of frontline infantry. So they were kind of treated as almost like, I guess your equivalent would be like the Secret Service, if the Secret Service was also a special ops group that would also fight on the front lines of a battle.
Got it.
So, and apparently one of the books, and I don't remember if that's the original, the first book that Dumas wrote, but I believe D'Artagnan was supposed to be a member of a different royal guard, and he befriended the 3 Musketeers, and so that's why there's always 4 of them, even though it's always called the 3 Musketeers, whereas in some of the movie versions, it's D'Artagnan is a young man who wants to join the Musketeers, and he has not officially joined yet. The 3 inseparables are Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. So that's the 3 Musketeers with him in the junior training squad.
And that's probably the answer why it's the 3.
Yes.
Right? Because they're the one. Yeah. But still, when you look on the face of it, it's like, wait a minute.
Right. I can count.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Quick synopsis for this one. We'll run through some major moments, and then we'll think a little deeper about this one. In a France on the brink of chaos, young D'Artagnan aspires to become a musketeer. He allies with the legendary 3 Musketeers, Athos, Porthos, and Aramis, to foil the treacherous Cardinal Richelieu's plot. Amid intrigue and danger, they must protect the king and the future of France. Normally, I would go straight into the trailer at this point. I would also like to point out that I have a hidden little, like I did with the Marin at the beginning there. I have a hidden little thing in there.
Yeah.
That they are to foil the treacherous Cardinal Richelieu's. Like a foil being a fencing sword.
I see what you did there.
I'm here to explain the jokes. tonight to all the people. That's what I'm here for.
John, it's the mark of true humor.
The mark of true humor is that you explain all your jokes.
Is that you can explain it, because if you can't explain it, then it's just not true humor.
Yes. Those who do, those who don't explain their jokes.
That's right. Low-hanging fruit is when people laugh without having to have the explanation. It's the explanation.
Correct.
That drives us.
Correct.
Yeah. I think we have unlocked humor.
We strive to be the patron saints of mediocrity here, is what we're looking for.
It's right. Well, we don't strive too hard for mediocrity.
No, you shouldn't.
You can't force mediocrity.
No. All for one and one for, I don't know.
Anybody that wants to show up.
Pretty much.
If you don't, that's fine too.
Yeah,
it's middle of the road.
I do what you want to do.
Middle of the road.
Do what you want to do. We don't care. All right. Here's the trailer.
You're under arrest.
5 of them, 3 of us. Hardly seems fair.
Maybe we should give him a chance to surrender.
Excuse me, but there's 4 of us.
Athos, Porthos, and Aramis.
Hello.
Nice to meet you again.
Pleasure.
Now, we're prepared to resist you.
Walt Disney Pictures presents the story of the greatest heroes who ever lived.
Long live the Musketeers!
It was a time when danger was irresistible.
Did I miss anyone?
King's life is in danger. We have work to do.
1,000 gold pieces on each of their heads, dead or alive.
I prefer
Kill him!
dead.
Adventure was everywhere.
I hope we're not interrupting. Kill those musketeers. Champagne? We're in the middle of a cave, Porthos.
And friendship
You're right. Something red.
was the greatest weapon of all.
All for one. More for me.
Charlie Sheen,
We must pray for ourselves. Second thought, God's often busy.
Kiefer Sutherland,
Save the king!
Chris O'Donnell,
Want a mission for the king?
I've heard that before.
Oliver Platt,
That's it. Next time you drive.
Tim Curry,
Snap of my fingers, and you could be back on the block where I found you.
and Rebecca De Mornay.
And with a flick of my wrist, I could change your religion.
The Three Musketeers.
Pat, I love Willow. I just wanted to say that. Sometimes we like to comment. We like to comment on the trailer music. I love Willow, and I love the Willow music.
Yeah. It's really good music.
Yeah.
It's really good music. I was trying to place it, and I'm like, okay, I don't think this is the music that we heard in the movies. But what the heck? What the hey?
Yeah. You are great. Pat, I have some, before we jump into major moments for this one, I had a couple of other funny things I did not mention during the trivia portion of the show.
Share 'em, man. Share 'em.
There have been a lot of different iterations of the Three Musketeers, different TV shows, movies, books, everything else. Pat, I found one that I kind of think I want to try to find and watch. It was advertised as being possibly on Netflix, but I could not find it there. I believe you can maybe find it on YouTube, but I'm very, very curious about this now. A TV movie from 1992 called Ring of the Musketeers. Have you heard of this one?
I don't believe I have.
Pat, this is a TV movie from 1992 in which the descendants of the original Three Musketeers are continuing the chivalrous tradition of protecting those who can't protect themselves, carrying it into the modern age. So rather than fighting lords and counts, these musketeers have the mafia to deal with. I'm going to read you their names, Pat, and I'm going to read you some of the actors that are in this TV movie. And this may explain why I really feel like I'd like to see this now. So the descendants of the original Three Musketeers, Peter Porthos, John Smith D'Artagnan, played by David Hasselhoff.
Okay.
Anne-Marie Athos, played by Alison Doody.
Okay.
And they also team up with a reformed burglar, Bert Aramis, played by Cheech Marin.
Okay.
This has, and John Rhys Davies, Sala from the Indiana Jones movies,
Right.
also plays in this one as well. So you've got Alison Doody, Cheech Marin, David Hasselhoff, John Rhys Davies in a modern-day Three Musketeers retelling.
So they're kind of going from, well, I would say the comedy, but maybe not. Wait, who's Alison Doody? I know I should know this. I know it's like Pat. Come on.
She
But who
was
is Alison Doody?
she was in Last Crusade. She
Okay, she was the
Austrian
Elsa
goodbye.
Snyder.
Yeah.
Okay.
We like Austria better.
Hey. You know, she talks in her sleep.
I love the look when he says that.
I know. That was just so well done. Yeah, okay. You know, I'd like to see, and you know, the 90s was a different time and what people found entertaining and the direction they were going with things. And yeah, what the hey? I thought you were going to tell me it would be cool if it was like a League of Shadows type thing where these have been like, they're training in secret and the Musketeers come out, but they're like modernized. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that could be fun.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. There have been some good Musketeer movies, you know, over the years. Some not so good, but some good. But yeah, no, I saw this one. I was like, okay, David Hasselhoff, Cheech Marin, you've already kind of sold me at that point, but you've got a few other people in there too. I'm like, all right, I might need to find this and give it a watch. So Ring of the Musketeers, if anybody's looking for it, Ring of the Musketeers. I think you can find it on YouTube. So I may have to check that one out at some point. All right. So for this one, we go through, I've got 10 major moments. I've tried to summarize the movie in 10 major moments, so we'll run thugh these real quick. This is just to kind of give you an overview of the story if you have not seen this or haven't seen it in a while, to kind of get you up to speed, and then we will share our opinions on the movie after that point. So we start off with the arrival and D'Artagnan's dream. He arrives in Paris. Young D'Artagnan arrives in Paris aiming to become a musketeer like his late father, despite finding out that they have been disbanded by Cardinal Richelieu's orders. Now, one other thing real quick, the movie does kind of start off with, there is a duel scene, and this kind of continues as a running gag throughout the movie, that the guy's name I think is Gerard, and he is dueling Gerard because Gerard is convinced that he dishonored his sister in some way. And so this is how the movie starts, and the rest of the movie pretty much happens because Gerard has been chasing him across France and through Paris, and we actually end the movie with a reversal of that and Gerard being chased off. So that is how the movie starts. But then, as he arrives in Paris, we find that he gets there, and he comes to Musketeer headquarters, finds that it is abandoned and trashed, and has a quick conversation with Athos, doesn't know that that's who that is, and finds himself, you know, having to arrange a duel with Athos. Same thing goes for when he bumps into and spills some food and wine on Porthos, and then ultimately Aramis, as he's trying to escape a jealous husband, he ends up falling on top of D'Artagnan, and D'Artagnan is a little rude about it. I mean, you don't like it when people fall on top of you, but he's a little rude about it. He did apologize. And ultimately he did
apologize.
He did apologize. And ultimately he ends up having duels arranged with the Three Musketeers, though he does not know they are Musketeers, at, I think it was at noon, 1 o'clock, and 2 o'clock. So he's going to have a very, very busy afternoon. I would not do that personally. I like to do my killing before breakfast.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
7 o'clock. I do my killing before breakfast.
During the duels, as they are getting ready to start the duels with D'Artagnan, some of the Cardinal's guards show up because these are the last three of the Musketeers that have not laid down their weapons. And so they team up with D'Artagnan, who fights the guards with them. D'Artagnan, a little bit later, a few minutes later, as they are trying to escape the Cardinal's guards, he is captured, but he is able to overhear the plot between Cardinal Richelieu and the mysterious Milady de Winter. who he finds out that Cardinal Richelieu is planning to supplant the King of France, that he is signing a treaty with the Duke of Buckingham in England, and this is going to get him placed on the French throne so that he can become the king. The Musketeers rescue D'Artagnan. They do so by disguising themselves as executioners when he's about to be beheaded, and then he does tell them Richelieu's plot. They are planning to intercept Milady de Winter in Calais to retrieve this secret treaty that has Cardinal Richelieu's signature on it. They end up catching up in Calais, and D'Artagnan ends up being picked up by Milady de Winter, and he unknowingly kind of reveals their plan to her, who then attempts to kill him. Musketeers do show up, intervene, and Athos recognizes Milady de Winter as his former wife, who he thought had died.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
Always awkward, when you think that when you think that they passed away a long time ago, and then you find out that your murderous former wife is still alive and still assassinating people, and super, super dangerous. So, and sad. Well, you never want that to happen.
Yeah. I never want that to happen.
No. So they retrieve the treaty. The Musketeers get the treaty. She is sentenced to death. Before dying, she does reveal Richelieu's plan to assassinate the king and when it's going to happen, that it's going to happen on the king's birthday celebration. She then ends up taking her life by jumping off the cliff. The Musketeers then know, all right, we've got to get to the king's birthday. We've got to save him. So they are rushing in to thwart this assassination attempt on the king and are able to implicate Richelieu in the process of that. I did love this scene. There's another connection, I feel, to, and I don't have a sound drop for this one, but I feel there's another connection to Star Trek in here, because what I wanted to have happen, you have the sharpshooter that's on the roof, and Chris O'Donnell, D'Artagnan, goes sliding down the roof to hit him, which then, causes the shot to go just a bit outside. And when that happens, what I wish D'Artagnan would have done is he would have slid down there, hit the guy, and somebody would have dove on the king and said, "Kirk, Enterprise." The whole scene from Star Trek 6, I kind of wanted that in there.
Fire it in.
Yeah. And then we have the final confrontation. Richelieu escapes with the king and queen as his hostages. D'Artagnan is able to defeat Senor Stinky Cheese, Mr. Rochefort, in a duel, avenging his father. I also wanted a little bit of an homage here and have him say things like, "Hello, my name is D'Artagnan. You killed my father. Prepare to lose another eye," or something like that.
Right. It would have fit. Yeah.
Would have loved to have that. I'm noticing that the really terrible villains who kill people's fathers either have extra or fewer body parts.
It is a common theme.
Nobody's ever just right with their body parts.
No, there's something that identifies you as evil.
I notice you're missing your left eye. Someone was looking for you.
Exactly.
Athos, Porthos, and Aramis pursue Richelieu, and ultimately they end up stopping him, and they save the king and the queen. The king reinstates the Musketeers, appoints D'Artagnan as one of them, and the entire Musketeer division stands together as Gerard once again tries to get to D'Artagnan for dishonoring his sister, and at the end of the movie, we have the all for one, one for all, and all of the Musketeers start chasing Gerard and his brothers out of Paris.
That's super exciting.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
It's a fun ending.
Hey, and wasn't when the one guy was playing Guy Gisborne in Robin Hood, wasn't he supposed to be missing an ear?
Was he?
I think he was. I think holding up we're missing a body part.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I think he was supposed to be missing an ear.
It's a pattern. There's a lot of missing body. I mean, I feel fortunate to live in the era that we live in, where you don't have to be missing a lot of body parts. I feel like that was very medieval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Theodoric of York, medieval barber. Just give him a good bloodletting.
Yes. Hey, who's the barber here?
That's right. Oh, man.
All right. Pat, I think it's time for us to think a little bit more deeper about this one.
I want to go deeper, man.
And now, Deep Thoughts.
I have an opinion on this matter.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
I like it a lot.
Wow. It's very deep. Thank you.
All right, Patrick, first question. Do you like this movie, and when was the first time you saw it?
Yes, I love this movie. It's just fun.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I don't know if I don't know how I missed it as a kid. Like, maybe I saw it once. Okay. I saw it later, and I think it was one of those, like, how have I not seen this movie? And then it was, I think maybe sometime during college, or maybe even after. Maybe it was when I was working, when I first got out of college, like sometime later, I finally just like, oh, I should watch this movie. And I don't know how I missed it. I don't know how I didn't watch it with the family, because I think my dad would have really enjoyed it. I don't know how I didn't watch it with friends, because we were all about the swords. And so yeah, I've seen it. It's great. We are currently doing a Star Wars and Marvel complete watch through with the family. But as soon as we're kind of all caught up and done with that, I think I'm going to put it on the list of, hey guys, you might like this movie. Yeah. So I love it. What about yourself, man?
No, I really enjoy this movie. In fact, I think we might have seen it in the theater when it came out.
Oh, cool.
I feel like this is one that we would have seen in the theater. I feel like I have memories of seeing this in the theater. But yeah, no, I've enjoyed this one since the first time I saw it, and I'm pretty certain the first time I saw it was probably in '93. So really enjoy this movie. And this is one of those, you just said it, this is one of those where you don't ever feel, there are certain action movies that I'm like, is this okay to show my kids? So if you're somebody who's listening to this and you've got kids and you're like, it's an action movie, there's some fighting, I mean, people get killed and other stuff. Yeah, but it's one of those kind of PG live action Disney ones where if you want to show them an action movie, kind of swashbuckling movie like this is not a bad one to do.
Yeah, what was the movie that was like, it was an okay movie, but then it had some kind of Italian cinema connection to it?
Oh, you're talking about Striking Distance?
I'm talking about, yeah. Have we recorded that one yet?
We have recorded that one.
Well, but is it out? Have our viewers seen it yet?
By the time this one comes out, yes, they will have heard it.
Oh, okay, good. So I'm not spoiling anything.
No.
But do you remember how the discussion in that was that movie might have been kind of trying to hit the same beats as that Italian form of cinema?
Yes.
And then I quite snarkily said, I was trying to make a joke, but I'm like, I don't care. It's just, I'm going to watch the movie for what it is and all that. And then it was kind of like, I felt like I was bad and I hurt your feelings, and I felt bad about that. And
Pat, there's a couple things. There's a couple things you need to remember. First of all, I have no feelings. Second of all, if you made a joke and it didn't go over, it's because you didn't explain it.
I probably should have explained it. See, that's the thing. I need to retain that level of humor.
And number C, I have no ego to bruise. So
I have no. That's right. The ship, of course, is yours.
Right.
No. Well, here's my point, though, dude. I was thinking, like, this is a perfect example of the opposite of what I said in that. Mm-hmm. And I think we talked about how different genres appeal to people.
Yeah.
Like, this to me seems almost like hearkening back, made in the same style of Robin Hood, Captain Blood, like an Errol Flynn type movie.
Very
like,
much so.
That's what this seems like. And just the story beats, the bad guys were all mustache twirling. You know, I mean, I think in one time of movies, it was always like they cast a certain look of actors, and the Spanish were always the bad guys, and it was the English we were cheering for. And later, not the Errol Flynn movies, but it would always be the bad guys have the British accents, like that kind of thing. And in this one, they do the same thing. Even, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but you know, our main characters talk like they could have been filming a movie set in the 1990s, right? I mean, that's very much, but that's okay. I mean, we love those guys, and the bad guys all seem to have the accents and are the mustache twirling. That seems to track right with the beats of a movie made in the 1930s, like a swashbuckling adventure back then. And here's the thing, like, I get it that that's kind of what they were trying to do. And the thing is, I get where the critics might don't like it for one reason. But I love this genre of movie. I love adventure movies. I love to munch on some popcorn and have a sword fight and do some awesome stunts. And I love it when he runs and hops up on the horse. I love it when they do that. Kind of hops, he jumps up over the fanny and lands on the top of the horse.
Yeah.
I just love all that stuff. And so I don't know, I'm just kind of rambling and I apologize, but that it's like the opposite of what I said last time. Like, okay, this movie seems to track right with those movies from the 30s, but I'm going to be totally down with it because it's a genre that I like, you know? And so it's like, it's okay. It's just fun.
Yeah. One of the other fun things about this movie is, and it's one of the reasons why I feel like this movie constantly comes up, and I'm constantly reminded of this movie the same way that I'm constantly reminded of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And that's because I enjoy Bryan Adams music. Like, I have several playlists where I have a bunch of Bryan Adams songs on different, like, classic rock playlists or, 80s, 90s power ballad kind of songs type stuff. But I think one of the things, every time I hear Everything I Do It For You, I am constantly taken back to watching Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Sure. Yeah.
And the same thing with this one. Like, whenever I hear the song, it's not Everything I Do. Is it All for One and All for Love?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And every time I'll hear that song, I'm immediately thinking of this one, and I'm thinking, you know what? This was actually a pretty big thing to start doing at this point in the late 80s, early 90s. As they were doing this, they did it with Robin Hood, with the Everything I Do It For You. They did it with these things that would become like top 40 hits on the radio. They did that. Beauty and the Beast was, I think, the same year as Everything I Do It For You and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I think Beauty and the Beast and the songs from that were the same year as that. And then you got Bryan Adams with Sting and Rod Stewart doing it for the Three Musketeers. So I think one of the things about this movie too is, even if some people don't like it as much as a movie, because it seems to get some low scores here and there, is it's so tied into the promotional material, because that song, much like Everything I Do It For You, I feel like when this movie came out, the Rod Stewart, Sting, and Bryan Adams song was everywhere, was played constantly on the radio. I very vividly remember hearing this song all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And they were their own little like a musical Three Musketeers.
Oh yeah. And that just gets the movie into more of the pop culture and yeah. I thought it was super fun, man. What a fun movie.
I really enjoy this movie. I mean, pretty much everything about this movie works for me. I have so much fun every time I watch it. Does it have its storytelling issues? Sure. But you know what? You know what makes me forget any kind of storytelling issues it has? Tim Curry. In fact, I'll just say, I could pick any one of them. I could say Michael Wincott as his character, Tim Curry, Oliver Platt. Any one of them in this movie are absolutely awesome. But Tim Curry plays such a great villain in this movie, and just some of the lines and the way he delivers the lines. In fact, it's funny, within the last few weeks, we've had 2 Tim Curry movies, and they're very, very different from each other. We've had Tim Curry dressed as a wilderness girl in Loaded Weapon 1, and now we've got him as Cardinal Richelieu in The Three Musketeers. And just the way he delivers, I'm surprised the way he chews it up. I'm surprised there's any scenery left in some of these scenes, because, I mean, one of my favorites, and it's so very simple, is, what does he say he says to D'Artagnan, he's like, "Tell me, D'Artagnan, what noble business brings you here?" He's like, "I came to join the King's Musketeers." And just the way he says the next line, bad timing. Like, that is, and he comes back with, "So I've heard." And just the way he delivers some of these one-liners, with a call of my voice, or I forget how he says it, but he's like, "With a call of my voice, I can have the guards in here. Well, with a flick of my wrist, I could change your religion."
That's right. That's right. I love that.
Yeah. All
That
for
was good.
all for one and more for me.
Mhm. It's just so good. And I gotta be honest, I like Oliver Platt. He's great.
Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland and Charlie Sheen, they've got the chemistry that they, because they were in Young Guns together.
Right.
Kind of a completely different genre and type thing from, because that was what we called it, rock and roll Western.
Yeah.
Was Young Guns, and this is swashbuckling, a neo swashbuckling movie, if you will.
Right.
But those guys have great chemistry together, and like Kiefer Sutherland just does the on the ragged edge, and he already can do the Jack Bauer power yell, right?
Oh yeah.
He's got that whole thing going. He's great, and Charlie Sheen is Charlie Sheen. I mean, that's just pretty much it. And when he's the quiet voiceover, and he just can explain things like this, and I'm just going to very logically, or supposedly logically, the way I'm going to talk you through this, like the way he does that with his tone of voice, is, I mean, it's just fun to watch that stuff on screen. Like when he's like, you fell on top of me. Yes, but I apologize. It's great. And, I mean, maybe this scene gets it uncomfortable when you're watching it with families, but when they talk about going out and they're going wenching, and he's just like, I can use the power of my voice and power of words. It's just the way he does that delivery. And so, yeah, people are going to get all poopy pants about like, okay, well, they don't sound like they're in France and they're not speaking with fresh accents or what, or people don't speak that way, or you're too young to drink this. That wouldn't, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but they're just fun to watch on screen. So you kind of just have to be willing to go with it,
Porthos is hilarious in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just all of his little one-liners and just the way he delivers them. And it's like the one where all of the guards show up and they're like, well, we're here to arrest you, something. What does he say? He says something like, don't even try to resist. It's like, well, of course we're going to resist. Just hold on a minute. Just give us a moment. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, don't be stupid. Of course we're going to resist.
Yeah. He's not. Now, you're going to have to forgive me because I'm getting their names messed up. Yeah. Porthos was...
That was Oliver Platt.
That was Oliver Platt's character. Okay. And was he also the one that when they put their heads together and say, okay, we've got it worked out, we're going to resist. Yes. And, when they all decide to fight together.
We are now ready to resist you.
He was also the one that said, you just spilled on my shirt or whatever.
Yes.
This was given to me by the Queen of America. America doesn't have a queen. Yes, it does. And there's something, what does he say? Of Japan.
Something of Tokyo,
like Yeah, there's something of, was it the Archbishop of Tokyo or something. the oh my gosh, the Pharaoh of Tokyo. It's just, that was funny stuff, man.
Yeah, here it is. It's when the Cardinal's guards come up and Athos says, only a fool would try to arrest us twice in one day. And then the main guard says, you're under arrest. And Aramis and Porthos both turn to each other simultaneously. A fool.
Yeah.
Are you coming peacefully or do you intend to resist? Oh, don't be stupid. Of course we intend to resist. Just give us a moment, all right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Everyone acquainted? Now we are prepared to resist you.
Yes.
Or I love the when they're running away in the Cardinal's coach. And Porthos is like, champagne? Athos is like, we're in the middle of a chase, Porthos. You're right, something red.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's just, it's the one of the things I really enjoy about this movie is it's not over the top comedy, but when it needs to be funny enough for just a fun adventure movie, it is just the right amount of funny. It's just the right amount of comedy at just the right times. It doesn't go over the top. They're not taking their characters too seriously. They're having fun with it.
Right.
And the fun that they're having with their characters is infectious when you're watching it.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to say that it seems like this movie, they capture almost what you find in the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now we're saturated with Marvel movies and all that, but going back and doing the rewatch with Dominic has been interesting because it's just been like, oh yeah, I remember when these came out and this was like a thing. And so I'm going to say this just like the Harry Potter deal is I am so excited, and the original run of Star Wars, I am so excited that I got a chance to live through that.
Yeah.
And I can think back to those Marvel movies and then experience them with my kids and see Dominic's reaction the first time when this stuff's falling, because that was such a hallmark of it. You know, it was good action. It was characters that inhabited their roles and had fun with it. And the writing, like some more successful than others, but it wasn't like out of place humor. It wasn't over the top humor. It was just like quippy one-liners, you know, funny little asides. It's just good. I mean, and that's kind of the same thing that you watch here. It's funny stuff.
Yeah.
And Chris O'Donnell, shout out for him. He can play like that punky kid that was just like, come on, man. Like, really, why do you want to fight with everybody? Like, dude, just chill it out.
Yeah.
You know?
This was a much better Chris O'Donnell punky kid than when he played Robin in Batman Forever.
I was gonna say, hey, love, step inside when he steals the Batman. I don't even want to say the line.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't even want to say the line, but yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. But yeah, Chris O'Donnell was fun in it, and well, look at that, he's still alive.
Yeah. Yeah, and other little moments like that for him too. He's like, Cardinal Richelieu is like, what, you object to having your head chopped off? Well, yes, I like it very, very much where it is.
That's right.
Like you could have, as somebody who is in a movie like this, you could have a character be all full of bluster and false bravado and be like, no, of course, you can cut my head off, do your worst. I mean, he could do that whole thing, but he's basically a kid. So his response is, no, I actually very much like my head where it is. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah. When what was it like? Oh man, my head. I bet you wish you cut off your head now. After they've been out all night, that was pretty. It's good. I'm hearing whistling. No, you're not. No, yes, I am. I was a little bit like in that scene. I was almost struck like the one of those smash cuts in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where they're like, they say something and then suddenly it appears. It wasn't the Castle Anthrax, but weren't they working in Monty Python? And it was like, we are entering the such and such swamp or something like that. And you're, and all of a sudden the camera turns and you're like in this new location.
Yeah.
Or there's some kind of quick, that kind of felt like that in this movie because they were walking and the next thing you know, they're getting shot at by cannons. And then suddenly there's a castle right there.
Right.
It was like, I was just like, wait, where did that castle come from? I mean, how did like, that thing it's a rather large edifice. Like, how did you miss that? And these guys are like winging cannon shots at him, and I'm just like, and then they're running for the trees, and
they're all standing there. Camelot. Yeah. It's only a model.
But it's like, how did that castle sneak up on them?
Yeah.
Was my question. Then I got to go back and watch it. But it was like all of a sudden it was right there.
Well, because it's the Castle Anthrax, Pat, and they lure people in with a false grail beacon.
We're here to rescue you from the peril. No, I want to face the peril.
No, I want to face the peril. I could do with a little peril.
I could do with a little peril. Oh, dude, I love that scene. You know, and I was like, when he was getting chased, I'm just going to say there was a part where like this big stone piece fell on one of the guys that was chasing D'Artagnan. Yeah. And at first I'm like, oh man, the horse got hit. Actually, no, the way they film it is it hit the dude on the horse, but the horse kept going. The horse was fine. It just totally smacked the guy off the horse. So I'm just like, okay, that was better.
Yeah.
But I'm a little sad because when they cornered the Jack Bauer musketeer, I forgot his name.
Yeah,
Athos. When they cornered him, did they shoot the horse? That was the sad part. I think
they did shoot the horse. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that. I was a little sad at that one.
Yeah.
In my mind, the horse got up and was healed.
Yeah.
Though, you know how the shot hit the Charlie Sheen character in the little cross thing. I'm imagining in my head canon is that the horse was just winded.
Yeah.
Because that was a little bit sad.
No, it's like a never-ending story. He'll be back in the end.
It's running free with Artax.
Yes.
So.
All right. Well, Patrick, do we have anything else? We love this movie. This is such a good movie.
We love it. Go see it.
Yeah, go see this movie.
Go see it.
I can't think of
Go see
anything.
it.
I mean, I can't even, off the top of my head, I can't even think of problems I have with the story.
We don't have problems with the story because it's fun.
It's a fun story.
I mean, it's a fun story. It's simple.
It's a fun movie. If you want an adventure movie that's going to be okay for your kids to watch, this you can't do much better than this one.
Yeah, it's a simple story. The dead guy killed the dead girl. Dead girl's dead. Just keep it simple. Why do you got to make things so complex?
Right. All right. All for one, and just do it.
Yeah.
All right, Pat. It's time for 3 questions, and I promise there won't actually be 4 questions. There will just be 3 questions.
That's okay. 3.
Okay.
Oh shoot! You know what?
What?
John, I think I saw your text. We had the little conundrum of what movies we were recording tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know that these might be impromptu because after that, and I was like, this is exciting, John. I don't think I looked. I don't think I've read all the way through. I'm going to be answering these questions in the moment.
There we go. 3 mystery questions.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All right, Patrick, question number 1. What is your favorite swashbuckler story?
Oh. Gut reaction. Gonna have to say Captain Blood.
Nice.
That's the original. Saw it first when I was a kid. Gonna have to go with that.
Yeah.
Then I'll let you go, and then we can name the 82 billion runners up.
Yeah. I mean, I have a bit of an issue because I want to say Star Wars.
Yep.
But, and then I also want to say The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely love, I love the entire duel between Wesley and Inigo.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, because this is still one of my favorite movies. I could rewatch this movie. I can watch this movie nonstop. You could put it on and just let it run on a constant loop, and I would watch it and be entertained.
Yep.
I'm going the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yep. That's it.
Yep. That is the answer for me. And I absolutely love that duel that they have at the end of the movie too, in the field.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, question number 2. If you were visiting France, where would you go? Is there a particular region or a city or even a landmark, a specific landmark? Where would you go if you were visiting France?
Honestly, I would definitely want to get to Normandy.
Okay.
I think that would be it. I know that would be it. So, and then, I mean, I would then the whole country, right? I want to see the countryside, the small towns, the big cities, the whole thing. But honestly, I think that would be to see Normandy and that. Yeah.
Yeah. I would go to Paris. I've actually been to Paris several times, and just it's such a fun city. There's so much to do there, and I haven't been to Paris in, oh, yikes. It's probably been 30 years-ish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, we went several times when we lived over in England, and it has been about 30-ish years since I've been. So I can only imagine, from time to time, I have tried to Google some of the places, do a Google image search or map search of places that we went to. And I'm like, okay, that looks totally different than what I remember it looking like when we were there. Oh, because it was a third of a century ago. Okay. That's probably why. Probably Paris. We went to Nice one time. We kind of stopped there for a few days while we were on our way to Milan, I believe. And I remember really enjoying Nice, being down there in the Mediterranean, and I remember that being fun too. But I think I'd probably go back to Paris.
Got it. That'd be a good thing.
Plenty of museums and other fun stuff to see.
Yeah. Museums. I know when my mom and dad went, they did an organ crawl. They went and saw all a bunch of the big pipe organs in the city. They went to different churches and all that kind of stuff. So
nice.
I know Mom had a pretty cool experience with that.
I love the fact that there is such a thing as an organ crawl.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. I love super nerdy things like that. All right. Question number 3, duel time. Choose your weapon, Pat. Sword or musket?
Well, yes. You know what? I don't know. I suppose I would say sword.
Okay.
I suppose I would say sword, saying as someone that doesn't have much sword skill at all.
Sure.
But that seems to be more of a dueling type thing. I don't know about the 1-2 turn and shoot and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose I'd say sword, but I don't know. Why get into a duel? I mean, let's cut a deal. That's what I would say.
Well, right. I mean, if we learned anything from Hamilton, it's that you negotiate this so that nobody ever has to fire a shot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm picking sword. I don't know, just because seems more fun.
Yeah.
I feel like I could throw off my opponent by picking a sword and then making lightsaber noises while I'm trying to fight with it.
I think a sword kind of what did the one guy have? He had the little pistol or whatever, at the end, but then it had a sword that stuck out of it or a blade that came out of it.
Yeah.
Or, has everyone seen Picard season 3? Spoilers for Picard season 3 out there, everybody on the viewership.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say Worf's bat laugh and this little surprise in there was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Riker's reaction was even better. Something like that, a sword like that.
Yeah.
Little combo deal. We'll just leave it at that. Enough said. I don't know. I think sword. I don't know.
The others that we talked about, different homages that this movie has, the one that made me think it would have been the perfect time for a musket, but at least they did something similar to it. When they are on the ship and the guy pulls out his 2 swords and starts swinging them around, doing that whole thing, and then Porthos just looks at him, he's like, and then cuts the rope and he falls down into the hold of the ship. Very much a little Indiana Jones moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Such a fun movie.
Very cool.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our 3 questions, and that's going to do it for this episode. So you can catch us back on 30podcast.com. Anywhere on social media, we are at 30podcast. You can pretty much find us on most of those. Search us up wherever you listen to podcasts. Look up the 30-something movie podcast. We will be there. Let's see. This actually brings to a close our action month. So this brings this to the end of the month of May. So earlier this month, if you didn't catch them, we had In the Line of Fire, Demolition Man, Loaded Weapon 1, Striking Distance, and then this one, The Three Musketeers. We are moving. We're going to continue on with the literary tradition, and next month, in the month of June, we are moving into the From Page to Screen month. We're going to have Much Ado About Nothing, Shakespeare movie, The Pelican Brief, Shortcuts, and The Firm are going to be our regular episodes. If you're joining us over on Patreon, there are bonus episodes. There's 2 short bonus episodes every month and 1 full-length episode. Our full length is Disney's Robin Hood from 1973. And then I've got a little theme running here for our Patreon shorts. I've got Flashdance is going to be one of our Patreon shorts from 1983, and The Flash from 2023 will be the other Patreon
There we go.
So
nice.
I will be on the Patreon. If you're on the Patreon feed, prepare to get flashed.
Okay. What do they have to pay to come in at that level?
People pay for the people pay for the privilege of that. Yeah.
Come on, honey. We're streaking. We're streaking to the park. Get in the car, Frank.
Yep.
No, but honey, we're streaking in the car. Okay.
Let's get in the car. And then the month of July is our fun and games month. So it's a bunch of either game or sport related movies. We've got Cool Runnings, The Sandlot, Rookie of the Year, Rudy, and Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, fun.
And then our Patreon episodes for the month of July is going to be, our full-length Patreon episode is going to be From Here to Eternity, 1953.
Oh, yes.
And then our Patreon shorts are going to be War Games from 1983 and Westworld from 1973.
Oh,
so good stuff coming up on the main feed and the Patreon feed. So get us in both of those areas. And like I said before, Patreon, if you're worried, you're like, hey, I can't fork over $5 a month. I can't have it. I can't do that right now. Any amount over there, like $1 a month, even that little amount, helps support the show, helps us to cover some of the costs of the show and keep everything running, keep the lights on over here. But then that also gets you all of the different bonus stuff that comes out every single time. So for less than like 20% of the price of a cup of coffee a day, or even a month, you could get bonus content over there and support the show at the same time. So head on over there. We got all kinds of fun stuff going on Patreon, and then also here on the main feed. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, just let people know. If they love 80s, 90s movies, let your friends know that this is a fun place to hang out.
Yeah, man. And thank you to all those that are already supporting us. That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. We appreciate it so much. We are just amazingly humbled by that. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Pat, that's going to do it for this time.
It is.
So I was going to try to end it with like, be excellent to each other, all for one for all, go watch some good movies, something like that. But
I think you should.
I was worried I was going to mess up the all for one and one for all thing.
Well, let's get prepped, and then using the wonders of technology, magic, we'll just edit it in and it'll be a seamless transition.
Okay, so see, since Pat doesn't explain his jokes, what I'm going to explain here is Pat thinks I do editing. So
what is this editing you speak of? You keep using this word.
I don't think that word means what you think it means. No. All right, everybody, be excellent to each other. All for one and one for all, and we'll see you back here next time.